Nigel Farage is already under investigation for accepting £5 million from a crypto billionaire, but now new revelations about his relationship with convicted criminal George Cottrell.
Is the Reform leader really a rotter, or is this a witch hunt by the establishment?
Nigel Farage has received a huge amount of money from various people, which in and of itself is not a problem, but he didn't declare it. Those are the rules. The rules are for everyone. The rules exist so that the public can see how much money and from whom politicians are receiving to decide whether that does or doesn't affect their decisions. It's pretty clear cut to me. I don't see what the possible issue could be with saying we deserve higher standards, we the public deserve higher standards, we politicians need to abide by higher standards. These are the rules, they apply to everybody, and he's broken them.
Dr. Tim Stanley, an essay question for you. In the 1996 smash hit by David Baddiel and Frank Skinner, they referred to it coming home. Define it.
Yes, it would be the football.
What specifically about the football?
Well, I suppose the trophy.
Yes. What trophy are they playing for right now?
It's the World Cup. I'm not a complete fool. Yes.
I know you're not a complete fool, but I also know you're not plugged into the football right now.
No.
So did you stay up last night?
I watched Blade Runner, went to bed, and had one of the best night's sleep of my life.
Well, I categorically didn't sleep well. I did a little power nap between 10:30 and 1:30. My husband ploughed through. I said, just wake me up when this thing kicks off. He did so. It was probably 101 to 2 minutes of the most agonising football I think I've ever watched. Do you know why?
I find all football agonising.
I know, but this was particularly difficult because... do you know what happened?
I know we won 3-2.
Yes, against?
Mexico.
Mexico?
Yes, who were playing at home in an Aztec stadium. It was called. Well, I had an image of a ball court, one of the old Aztec ball courts, but I don't think it was quite like that.
All right, good. And did you know that the Mexicans had kept the England team up outside their hotel the night before by playing vuvuzelas and
wonderful,
drums?
by playing La Cucaracha music.
Basically, yes. So I think somebody said Declan Rice, who's a very key player for us, had about 45 minutes sleep.
Right, so there was a mariachi band out the window.
Indeed.
That's very clever.
And
I like that.
Do you know why the last 11 minutes, there was 11 minutes of time added on after 90 minutes. Do you know why that was so agonising?
Because it was an extra 11 minutes of football.
But it was particularly difficult for us.
Right.
How many people normally play in a football team? Oh, no.
Don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. How many beans make 5?
Yeah, it's normally 11, but we were down to 10 men.
Right.
So consequently, that makes it hard, right? Because the opposition have got an extra player. So we were having to defend our 3-2 lead for what was an excruciating period of time. And we did so. And our goalkeeper, whose name is?
David Seaman.
Jordan Pickford.
Yes.
Was absolutely...
Really? There's someone called Jordan Pickford in 2026?
Yes.
It's like a name from the 1930s. Mr. Pickford.
I know it's.
Don't forget to catch the ball, Mr. Pickford.
Well, Mr. Pickford did a good job of punching the ball out every time it came anywhere near him.
Well done.
And do you know who was man of the match? Do you know the name of our star player who has immortalised this pose? We sing a song about him. We have borrowed the Beatles hit Hey Jude to sing to this man because he is just so phenomenal. What's his name?
Is this Harry Kane?
Well, no, the clue's in singing Hey Jude to him.
Right.
Harry Kane's the captain. What's the other guy? The guy who scored 2 of the 3 goals.
Camilla, I have no idea. We're eating into politics time with this conversation. Carry on.
That man's called Jude Bellingham.
Okay.
And he's a hero. He's magnificent and we love him. What happens next in this? We're taking on some Vikings.
You mean that isn't it?
No.
I thought we'd won.
What, you thought we'd won the World Cup last night? No, Tim, we're out of the 16. There's more. We've got a quarter-final on Saturday.
And who are we playing?
Who do you think we're playing when I say Vikings?
We're playing Norway.
Yes. And do you know who their star striker is? He's a massive man. Big man.
No.
Erling Haaland,
okay.
Who is absolutely
Eric
supreme.
the Viking.
Yeah,
I heard that people are willing to pay £6 million for a ticket to watch this game. Isn't that extraordinary?
Isn't that extraordinary?
Yeah.
Well, that leaves us nice.
And is that being sold by a tout outside the stadium?
Well, I don't know.
£6 million.
Do you know who could afford such a ticket price? Now he's taken £5 million from Christopher Harbour. Do you see how I've just managed to crowbar in the next segment?
Well, I can tell you who definitely can't afford it.
Who's
and that's Angela Rayner.
Oh, my goodness.
Filling in for James O'Brien on LBC this morning.
Yes.
It was some of the funniest radio I've ever heard. You could tell that she had a massive hangover.
Right.
She'd agreed to do this thing weeks in advance and probably thought because the football was happening the night before, we obviously won't go ahead with it because who's going to work the next day? And instead she finds herself sitting in a boiling hot studio. This is her talking about it. 34-degree heat.
Oh, no.
You can tell with a bottle of Lucozade very close by, clinging onto the table for dear life.
And like many of you, probably haven't slept much, so hopefully we'll have a good few hours. I've got some hot topics for you, not least, I mean, we've just got to start with what a magnificent match. I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely put me in a really good mood. We've had some really good weather, a bit too good for a ginger from Manchester, if I'm honest. Once we get past 34 degrees, I start to wilt a little bit, and my colleagues were like, Angie, you look miserable. It's like, no, that's northerners when it gets above 34 degrees.
She clearly doesn't want to do this. And she's saying, let's just keep it optimistic. Let's just be upbeat. We've won the football. Let's discuss something light. First caller, what are your views about trade with British Somaliland?
Oh, you're joking. Who phoned in with that one? Gavin Williamson from the Tories. He's obsessed with the Somaliland.
That she hasn't got a clue what he's talking about.
Oh, no.
Anyway, he gets very exercised about Somaliland and how we should be trading with it, and it's an absolute disgrace that we're not. And finally, she cuts him off and says, well, I just want to say thank you very much for your optimism about Somaliland, but I'm afraid we have to go to a commercial break. Oh. And then there's silence, and then she says, do you know I got that wrong? I've got to have another caller now.
Oh, no, you're joking. It wasn't a break. It wasn't a break. She went to an early break. Bless her. I mean, to be fair, we like to see politicians pioneering their radio skills. It's interesting.
I don't understand why they do it.
No, but I love this because, of course, the left constantly complains about GB News and the fact that we employ politicians as presenters. No, it's okay because if you're on the left, and let's be honest, LBC pioneered this. They had David Lammy on long before Nigel Farage was hitting prime time.
That's right.
It's perfectly acceptable.
She had, but you can tell throughout she's just thinking, bring me a coffee. Just bring me more coffee, please. When people are talking on the phone, she puts the hand over the mic and shouts, get me a couple of aspirin.
And maybe a massive glass of
And there was one lady who was saying, they were discussing care, and the lady was saying, I've been lying in this bed for 6 months. And you can tell Angela's thinking, oh, you lucky cow. I'm there right now with a flannel over my face.
Stop it. I tell you what we need to do. We need to have a World Cup watch party for the quarterfinals with you and Ange side by side in some kind of it's not goggle box, it's telly box. It's telegraph box, and we just film you both as you both take in the scenes.
But Angela does have a lot of giggles, a lot of laughs about Nigel Farage.
Yes, I bet she does. So she's absolutely reveling in this, having been the victim of her own witch hunt, also known as journalistic story.
I know.
I do love these politicians. This is a witch hunt. And no, it's just reporting by a newspaper.
When the Inquisition comes for you, I never expected the Times, who have reported on Nigel Farage's relationship, which we've known for a while, with the wealthy online gambling millionaire George Cottrell.
Also known as Posh George. Mm-hmm. He is, I would suggest, Nigel Farage's right-hand man. And I think they have quite a kind of pseudo father and son relationship. Often whenever Nigel Farage is anywhere, George Cottrell isn't far behind. It's been reported that he calls him daddy. I'm not sure whether that's true, but he has been on the reform scene for many, many years and provided a whole amount of emotional support to Nigel Farage in his quest to get Brexit done, in his quest to become the leader of previous parties, Brexit and beyond, and been very supportive to him now in his new role as the MP for Clacton-on-Sea.
He's only 32.
Yes.
And in 2017, he pled guilty to wire fraud. Basically, he got into a conversation with FBI agents who were posing as drug traffickers.
Yes.
And he agreed to help them to launder money. He cut a deal.
Yes.
He got several months in prison.
He got 8 months, I believe.
Got 8 months in prison, and he was let out. He then made big bucks in crypto gambling, which I don't even begin to understand what that is. Moved to Monaco?
Possibly.
Or Montenegro. One of the M's.
He runs a casino there, I believe.
Right, one of the M's. Now, we've known about this relationship for a long time. We've known about Posh George for a long time. And what Reform has always said is he's a very close friend of Nigel.
Yep.
And Nigel is loyal to him.
Yes.
And you should give people another chance in life, which I think is entirely admirable, and I agree. And the one element about this story which I really don't like is the implication that because someone's been to prison, you should cut off all contact with them for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And politicians in particular should keep them at arm's length. I don't think that's fair.
Fair enough.
But of course,
Fair enough.
reformists would say that. But the issue isn't just the friendship between Nigel Farage and George. The issue is that we know George has given money and gifts to Nigel, including gifts in kind. And these should, if they did happen, have been declared 12 months prior to Nigel's election as an MP.
Okay, so I totally agree with your point on rehabilitation, and I understand that Mr. Cottrell has even written a book on the insider world of money laundering in a bid to raise awareness of
He's not pro it.
He's not
the poster boy for it. He did the crime, he's done his time.
Yeah, precisely. What this is actually about is very similar in a way to the Christopher Harborne donation in how it's currently being treated. Because under the MP's Code of Conduct, as you say, even if you don't know at the time that you're receiving the funding stroke benefit in kind stroke whatever, the support, even if you don't know at that point that you might go on to be a parliamentarian, there's a clause in this Code of Conduct that says once you are elected, you have to retrospectively go back 12 months and reveal who gave you what and when and by how much, so that the electorate can see who's funding you, where you're getting your money from, donations or gifts or otherwise, to then just have a degree of transparency around how and with whose help you were elected.
And this is meant to cut out people buying influence in politics.
Yes.
So we're looking, when it's not just the gifts themselves, we're looking for any possible sign that someone's politics might be being dictated to by their donors.
And the test for whether or not influence may have been exerted is a reasonableness one. So it is basically saying, could it reasonably be assumed that by taking this money, stroke this benefit, stroke this gift, that it has affected the parliamentarians' actual work, that it might have influenced what they say in the House, what they do with policy, so on and so forth. Now, I had a very interesting interview with Robert Jenrick, who was on the broadcast round yesterday, spoke to him on GB News. To be fair to Mr. Jenrick, because we have struggled in recent times to get Mr. Farage or indeed Zia Yusuf on the show, because I think there is a sense among Reform that I rough them up a little bit. Now, when you've got a massive investigation on the front of the Sunday Times, it is the first question you're going to ask and probably the last question you're going to ask. And I did try and probe with Mr. Jenrick exactly what had gone on here. And this is how that conversation played out.
It's an old friend. I mean, we're going around the houses here, Camilla.
Social media staffing.
He's an old friend who gave him some money to support his activities before he was a Member of Parliament. That had nothing to do with his life as a Member of Parliament, because remember, he wasn't considering being a Member of Parliament.
It doesn't matter,
He'd
does
actually
it?
ruled it out.
This is about the 12. This is why, to be fair, you can do the whole nothing to see here. Clearly there's something to see.
Why?
Because at the moment he's under investigation for Christopher Harborne's $5 million,
Camilla, isn't he? Because I've just answered and rebutted you on that point, you're now moving on to a totally different issue.
But
the reason this story, let's be clear,
right.
You and I both know what's going on here. The reason this story is on the front page of the Sunday Times is a Labour-supporting newspaper that backed the Labour Party at the last general election is worried that Nigel Farage is going to be our next Prime Minister, that the cosy consensus that has run this country for far too long is going to be shaken up, and there's going to be real change on the things that matter to the people watching this programme, like stopping the boats, getting people's bills down, fixing our broken economy.
Your policy
and that
positions.
Nigel is the only man who's going to do that. So they're trying to besmirch his reputation day in, day out, and it's failing.
Jenrick's approach was quite interesting. Obviously, he came into the studio on the defence. And he would have to do that because he's going into bat for Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
He's a new leader, so to speak. I'm not sure whether it necessarily washes to say the only reason the Sunday Times has launched this investigation is because they once supported Labour. Gabriel Pogrund and the others who have their name on the story have also done a lot of knocking stories on Labour, most notably Labour Together. Famously, Josh Simons then stood down in Makerfield to make way for Andy Burnham. So I think when it comes to Pogrund, we've also seen Richard Tice, the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, today say on X, Pogrund's only doing this because he hates Reform and he's a staunch Labour supporter. Hang on, to use a football analogy, let's play the ball and not the man. I think sort of pointing at journalists and saying you're doing this as part of some kind of media conspiracy isn't quite the right tack to take.
Yes.
The second line of defence is the only reason why this is being reported is because there are so many forces at play that want Nigel Farage out of politics completely. So it's a mashup between the Labour supporting Sunday Times, the Conservative Party, because it was Kevin Hollingrake, the chair, that initially made the complaint about the Harborne donation that's currently being investigated. This is all one big conspiracy. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure that's true. I think that if the shoe was on the other foot, and if an opponent of Mr. Jenrick's was being investigated, he would be the first to jump on the "you have questions to answer" bandwagon, would he not?
The other thing is that it's strange how Reform cannot put up a defence in answer to the individual charges. So if you go back to the Harborne £5 million donation, Farage keeps being asked, how did you spend it? And he's not actually given a clear account yet of where the money goes to. He just says, none of your business, none of your business.
Well, initially it was a gift for Brexit.
Yeah.
Then it was help with security. Then it was, well, I could spend it on whatever I like, Ferraris if I wanted to, in response to questions, well, have you spent it on security and how much?
And likewise, when you pressed Jenrick on the Cottrell donations and the 12 months up to the 2024 election, he wasn't able actually to specifically say what the money was or what it went towards. And when the issue of the number of houses that Nigel owns comes up, he just kept batting it away with, are you a journalist for The Telegraph saying people shouldn't be allowed to own a holiday home? Well, why can you not just definitively say how many homes you have and where the funding for them came from?
By the way, I've got no objection at all to people having many homes. I'm merely making the point, and the reason why I was asking the questions I was asking is because I'm a journalist, not an activist for any party. And anyone that saw the other interviews will know that the other people who came on the show, most notably James Murray, bless him, the Health Secretary, got really quite badly roughed up.
Oh, fell apart. Yes,
Poor
he was
guy.
A puddle on the floor.
Well, he had to reveal that he no longer thinks women can have penises, which didn't go well for him. But just
Camilla,
on that point...
You're always completely scrupulously fair in the sense that you're horrible to everyone.
I'm horrible to everyone, universally. That's just my modus operandi. But the point is, I was trying to say about £5 million donations and 5 homes Farage, and then money from George Cottrell, that it seemed to be contradictory to Nigel Farage's entire shtick. Yeah. And his entire shtick is that he cannot be bought.
That's the thing.
That he is anti-establishment, that he isn't elite, that he is the people's politician.
This is where all of this is a genuine weakness for Reform, which is it undermines the image of the man of the people. I mean, one of the Cottrell donations was for a US domestic flight, and it ran into the thousands of pounds. I'm guessing that wasn't sitting in economy, right?
No.
And the not being able to fully account for the number of homes you have. This is something that's so out of the life experience of the average red waller that I think it starts to become a problem. It's a rich man's populism. But what we're also dealing with is a new phenomenon in this country, which is politics as a business. Hitherto, politics has been carried out by institutionalized parties that have been around for decades. They receive private donations, big ones, from trade unions, from businessmen. But they depend, really, for their structure and their organization upon grassroots activism. Reform isn't like that. Reform is a startup. It was set up by rich people. And they're rich people in the last decade who have found that they can make money out of politics. An example of that is GB News. We've never had that kind of openly political, centre-right, independent media before, which is making money out of politics and political debate. I'm a good capitalist. I'm not against it. I'm just saying it's new. And this creates a blurred line between the political, the personal, and the financial. So equally interesting to me is the suggestion that Nigel has made money out of promoting gold bullion.
Yes.
Think about the United States. There, Donald Trump is thought to have made about $2 billion since the beginning of his second term, of which $1 billion has come out of crypto. And his administration has promoted crypto.
Yes.
Okay? This is what happens when business enters into politics. Now, as I say, there is a defense that can be mounted for this, which is this, that Nigel Farage couldn't be in Parliament without this kind of funding.
Yes.
Because Reform has only been around for a few years, it's not had decades to raise money and build grassroots and all that sort of stuff. They've had to set it up overnight. And that depends upon the generosity of rich people helping it over the line.
Yeah.
And if you were to say you've now got to account for the last 12 months, then I bet I bet no one could survive in Reform by that test because they've just had to raise money this way. There was no other way of doing it. So if the main parties come for Reform on this basis, that it's financed independently, that it's operating like a business rather than a political party, what they're effectively saying is no startup can enter politics.
Yes.
You have to have been around for decades, or more unrealistically, you have to begin as like a little independent councillor who gets elected and raises a few pennies from your neighbours.
Well, listen, Labour and the Tories
is a double standard.
No, okay, so Labour and the Tories might well want to say that because they are established parties that are set up in a completely different way. But this is the rub for Reform, because Reform are saying, first of all, well, Nigel didn't have any formal role in those 12 months before.
Exactly.
He wasn't an MP.
Yes.
But you could say two things. Well, he was honorary president of Reform. Because this was the generic argument. Look, he was going into the jungle on I'm a Celebrity and he was working for GB News. He didn't know there was going to be an election. And by the way, he had ruled himself out before he then ruled himself in at a press conference I think both attended, right?
Yes, within days.
But the counter-narrative to that is, well, no, hang on. He's a major shareholder in Reform, an actual political party, and he's honorary president. So you can't just say he was incidental. He wasn't just on the outskirts. He was fully embedded in the operation, even if he wasn't yet declared or indeed elected as an MP.
Yes.
Point one. Second of all, George Cottrell was incidental. He was just Nigel Farage's friend. Well, there has since emerged a business card with George Cottrell's name on it, with the Reform logo and Nigel Farage's own email address. That suggests that George Cottrell wasn't incidental to Reform. He wasn't on the outside. He was very much on the inside. And that therefore gives more weight to the idea that the support he was given to Nigel Farage did influence his behaviour as a future parliamentarian. And that's the point.
And decades ago, centuries ago, I remember Liam Fox having to step down as Defence Secretary because he was taking a friend around who was
Adam Werrity.
Right, who was claiming access and a responsibility that he probably didn't have. In other words, this sort of thing just happens within politics. The question is, why does it feel very often the focus is upon right-wing parties? Boris Johnson was basically forced out of politics by the Privileges Committee.
Yes.
Why does it tend to focus on them and not so much on left-wing parties?
Yes.
And I think this is being deployed as a weapon. And that's a huge mistake, because let's play it through as to what could actually happen here. So it could be that Nigel Farage is judged to have broken the rules by not declaring the money for 12 months. He is then suspended for 30 days, which allows for a recall where the signatures are gathered. It's very easy to do. Parliament's made it far too easy to recall an MP. A by-election is called, and Nigel Farage wins it by about 70%.
Yes.
An enormous waste of time and the public's money, and it will make Nigel even stronger. Because what we have learnt from Trump and from countries throughout Europe, this has been done to Marine Le Pen. This was done in Romania.
Yes.
Liberals keep thinking we can just use the courts and the law to stop people we don't like from winning elections. And almost every time they've done it, that person still won. I can't believe people are so thick as to not realise this doesn't work as a political strategy.
Although we did speak to the Tory MP Katie Lamb earlier, and I put it to her that there could be an alternative outcome. And that outcome could be that my old friend and hers, Robert Jenrick, ends up as leader of Reform. This is what she had to say about it. If the Commissioner finds against Nigel Farage to the sort of most severe level, then of course he could face a recall petition in Clacton-on-Sea. He might have to fight for his own seat. Now, he will probably, I would imagine, because of the loyalty of his constituents in Clacton-on-Sea, win his seat back. He could lose it, then that could pose the question, well, who's going to be the next leader of Reform? We know your old mucker, Robert Jenrick, is probably quite after that job. And then we look forward even more, and we see how Andy Burnham fares, and then we look at what the next general election is going to be like, assuming it's not a snap general election, that it actually happens in 2029. Who's leading Reform is absolutely critical to the Conservatives. Indeed, Reform's performance is critical to the Conservatives, because currently you are not ahead, they're ahead. And if you're going to have any future role in government, it's probably propping up Reform. So you might need to be careful what you wish for, because Nigel Farage could arguably be more open to a coalition with the Conservatives than Jenrick, because let's be honest, there's no love lost there, is there?
Well, there won't be a coalition with the Conservatives and there won't be a deal.
Well,
so
there may well be after an election, Katie Lamb. Come on.
Even if, which there won't be, it's not going to happen, even if anybody were thinking in this kind of a way, that's really not how this is supposed to work. Like, the idea is not supposed to be that you try to game all of this out, try to make these decisions effectively on behalf of the public. Nigel Farage has received a huge amount of money from various people, which in and of itself is not a problem, but he didn't declare it. Those are the rules. The rules are for everyone. The rules exist so that the public can see how much money and from whom politicians are receiving to decide whether that does or doesn't affect their decisions. It's pretty clear cut to me. I don't see what the possible issue could be with saying we deserve higher standards. We, the public, deserve higher standards. We, politicians, need to abide by higher standards. These are the rules. They apply to everybody, and he's broken them.
But just on the generic point, because you raised a little eyebrow, you gave me a knowing look when I mentioned the idea of your old friend Robert potentially eyeing up the leadership of Reform one day. Do you agree with my analysis on that?
I would not be surprised if it were part of his calculation for why he changed party. But I don't know. I haven't spoken to him. I've got no particular
But you two
insight.
were quite close once, weren't you? Like within the party? You got on quite well?
Yeah, and I supported him for the leadership. But I haven't spoken to him since he left the party. He hasn't been in touch.
Intriguing. I just take one issue with this idea that broadcast hasn't been weaponised for political purposes. We have had the advent, haven't we, in recent years of organisations like Novara Media that have existed on the left. Yeah. I mean, there seems to be this, if you're a kind of activist journalist on the right, it's a problem. If you're one on the left, you go and get a plum job at the BBC. Maybe you even run the institution. This is my only distinction that I would make just with regard to GB News.
And they would say, of course, the difference is no elected officials present Novara, whereas the GB News does offer a platform to an elected official.
And I take that point. Ross Kempsell, who, funny enough, was given a peerage by Boris Johnson and sits in the House of Lords.
At an incredibly young age.
Very young age, basically barely even been conceived at the point that he was elevated. He's made a good point, which I think is worthy of some further investigation. He's saying, listen, we can all look at reform, but shouldn't the right, and I think this is aimed at the Tories, because I think Kempsell is somebody who says, can we just remember that we're in opposition here to oppose Labour, not anyone else? Labour's donation scandal is vast. The difference is the media is broadly less interested. Why is it all focused on Nigel Farage and not looking actually at the people who are actually in government, Tim? And I think that's a very good point.
Yes. And as an example of politics making strange bedfellows, Boris Johnson appointed as a crossbench peer Evgeny Lebedev, right, who is descended from a KGB operative who gave hospitality to Boris, whose appointment has been very controversial, and who in recent times has attended something like 1% to 2% of all House of Lords debates, right? So he's not really been participating in the chamber. And the point that Reform is entitled to make is lots of people have strange friends they can't account for in politics. It's just that, again, partly because it's institutionalised within Tories and Labour, it's formal, and therefore it's sort of excusable.
No, but then, again, here's the rub for Reform. Reform are meant to be different. They don't want the electorate saying, he's just like the rest of them. He's just like uni-party politicians who fill their boots and elevate their mates to positions of huge influence and privilege. He was meant to be different to the rest of them. And that's the problem. So I appreciate what you're saying. Look, they're all at it, but that's not a category Nigel Farage ever wanted to be placed in.
But was he supposed to be different? I'm not sure that the Farage appeal is that he is different in that account. I'm not sure. I just don't think it's ever been part of his political personality that we all looked at him and thought, well, I'll give him one thing, he's squeaky clean. I think it's actually cheeky chappy who's playing the system at its own game. And that's part of the appeal of Donald Trump as well. It's that old thing of he says to the voters, you know everything that you suspect about politics? It's all true. And I know that because I'm doing it too. The issue is, can they then use that insider knowledge to work it to our advantage? Now, I know some people might say that's totally ethically beyond the pale.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that for those who think they can bring Reform down this way, I think that's a big mistake. If anything, if they force a contest, I think Reform would come back stronger from it.
If you're enjoying our journalism, why not sign up to From the Editor, our free email newsletter? Start your day with the latest news and opinion, plus our bite-sized puzzles. Scan the QR code to sign up free today.